untouched. It still has the courtyard entrance and the fire pit. You can take that tour, learn what it was like to live in one of those dwellings back in the day. All right, across the street from the exit, you'll see the Chechki House. Now, the Chechki House is an example of a catalog house. Anybody remember the Wish Book? For me, it was the best catalog, but a lot of people had the Sears catalog. In either case, you could open up the pages of one of those catalogs on a house, just like this one would be on those pages. Now, if you had $3,000, you could purchase that house and they would deliver it to you. For another $3,000, they would come out and build it for you. That's a pretty good sized house for $6,000. It only left one question in my mind. How many do you want? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you bought a dozen of them today, pay more for the land just to build them. I did have a lady on my trolley the other day who said her grandmother grew up in a Sears and Roebuck house. Now, to your left is that wrought iron fence, and another chance to see that cannonball go by slow. But I'm going to be telling you about the 5 flags that you see on the side of the building up here. Those 5 flags represent the 5 different periods that St. Augustine has gone through. From right to left, you got your first Spanish period, then you got your British period, then you got your second Spanish period. Now, the 4th flag is called Stars and Bars, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Confederate flag, seldom seen flown anywhere in the United States. And, of course, you've got Old Glory on the end. Now, the cannons and the cannonballs that you see on display around town, these are real. They're not fakes, they're not replicas. Each and every one of them was commissioned at some point in history to protect St. Augustine against any and all attacks. Me, I really just think it's cool they got as many of them as they do and that they're in the shape that they're in, because these things really took a beating back in the day. All right, as we round this corner, take a look to your right-hand side. You're going to see the seawall, and if you look in front of the seawall, you'll see that thing that looks like a raised sidewalk. Well, that's actually the original seawall. Now, being the overachievers that we are down here at St. Augustine, one seawall that doesn't work, that wasn't enough for us. No, we went ahead and built a second wall that doesn't work any better than the first one did. This road floods, sometimes as much as knee deep. Why they didn't build that second wall taller? My guess is the view, but that's unfounded. Now, the building on the pylons, I'm told that's going to be a wharf restaurant when they're done. I'm excited. See, I'm from Virginia, not too far from the Maryland or the D.C. borders. Up there, we steam our crabs and our shrimp. We don't boil anything. If this is the same people who own the wharf restaurant in Washington, D.C., and I did say if, ladies and gentlemen, I got my fingers crossed. I don't know for sure. But if it is, we're finally going to get some steamed crabs and shrimp down here, and that's exciting to me. I have tried a crab boil, by the way. You can't go wrong with Old Bay as your seasonings. It's a texture thing for me. If you've never had it steamed, don't knock it till you've tried it. All right, the Black Raven on the docks out here. That's the black Spanish galleon replica with the yellow, red, and white stripes on it. Well, it's a tour boat. And during the day, it's G-rated. Take the kids. Learn what it was like to be a pirate or a deckhand. But at night, well, now it's time to get yourself a babysitter. You see, the tour tends to get a little bit more R-rated. They call it the Rum Runner. Essentially, it's a booze cruise, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a lot of fun. Now, up here on the right, you're going to see Ripley's, believe it or not, putt-putt golf course, not the museum. And it's a very old golf course. It was the first one desegregated during the Civil Rights Movement. To the left of that, you'll see a pergola, and in front of it, a little park area. This is where they unearthed that 18th century vessel I mentioned earlier. Now, to the left of that, 2 lions at the end of the Bridge of Lions. Their names are Firm and Faithful. They were cut from the same marble quarry as Michelangelo's David statue. Now, to the left of the intersection, there he is. I pointed him out earlier. Juan Ponce de Leon. He's still only 4'11", ladies and gentlemen. But he's pointing at a flagpole, and at the base of that flagpole, you'll see a World War I memorial. All of these monuments that I've just pointed out, donated by the same man, Andrew Anderson II. Remember him? The one who bought the Markland House and was Flagler's personal physician. Well, Andrew got to see most of these monuments put in place. Not Firm and Faithful. He ordered them. It took a long time for them to chisel them out, bring them here, and put them in place. And in the meantime, he passed away. But he did get to see the rest of them. Now, there are 2 lions at the other end of the bridge as well, cut from granite from Mexico, donated at a later time. The bridge itself used to be called the Matanzas Bay Bridge before the lions were put in place, and that's when they aptly changed the name to the Bridge of Lions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one more time to the left, you'll see our one and only skyscraper. That's right, 5 stories constitutes a skyscraper down here. The building with the red top. Well, that's the Treasury building. It's also the tallest building in town. Why? mostly because they built it and they didn't like the way it looked, so they quickly put an ordinance on the books, said nothing could be over 3 stories tall, and that ordinance still stands to this day. Now, take a look across the bay to your right, you'll see Anastasia Island. That's where coquina is harvested from. Now, coquina means tiny shell in Spanish. Literally, they're only about so big. Mix them with limestone, though, and they make a very durable, buildable substance. So much so that they actually built the Castillo de San Marcos out of it. Stop number 17 on the tour. Now, the first 9 times they built the Castillo, they built it out of wood. And it kept getting burned to the ground, which burned the queen up. So she said, hey, guys, come up with another substance, and they did. They came up with the coquina mix. But for all of its good traits, coquina is really not perfect. It does have some bad ones. You see, it's very porous while it's curing, and it takes about 3 years for it to fully cure. So in the meantime, they had to come up with a way to waterproof the fort. What they came up with was plaster. When we pull into the parking lot, take a look at the side of the fort. You'll see something scattered all over it. It looks like white paint. It's not. It's plaster, and it worked very well for waterproofing the fort. And that's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen, because this fort took 23 years to build, but 32 years to fully cure. Now, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, once they got the plaster on the side of the fort, they realized they had a big, beautiful white building. So they decided to paint the turrets red. There's one on each corner of the building, the rounded sections. Once they did that, you did not have to be a genius if you were an opposing ship captain to know that you were in enemy waters. You either saw the Spanish flag flying overhead or you saw the building itself. And the building was representative. One big, massive, menacing Spanish flag. Having said that, Sir Francis Drake, he wasn't fazed by that at all. He attacked that building for 50 days straight, continuous and total bombardment. When the smoke cleared at the end, the fort was still standing there. It's never been taken in battle. That upset Sir Francis. So for his encore move, what did he do? He was one of those guys who went into town and burned it down. You're disembarking at stop 17, handhelds and uprights backing down like you would back down a ladder. Either side is okay at the stop. Either side is fine.